Good morning. It's Monday, and well, I've got them with me again. The goal for today is to get that seed treater fired up and run some beans through it. I don't know how much we'll do today, but we're going to try and run a batch. I am going to go fill this propane tank up again. It's about 50 degrees in here. It's supposed to be fairly warm outside, but it got cold last night, down 29, 28, something like that. And it's just more comfortable to work in here when it's warm. So we're going to turn that on just to keep it warm. Okay, well, that won't take too long, but we'll let that fill there for a minute. And you'll notice that our fields are quite wet. So last Thursday, we had that 1.6 inches of rain. Well, overnight Saturday into Sunday, we had another 7/10. So we're, 2.3 for the last week here. So things are plenty wet. Any drought concerns that we had are over, and now it's back to, is it going to dry up in time for us to get back in the fields and get stuff planted when we want to? We'll see. Weather forecast this week looks relatively good. Cooler, but no more rain in the forecast, so that's good. You'll also notice that these fields look awesome still. Like, they're going to dry. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You're going to get muddy if you walk out there. They're going to get crusty when they dry out and stuff, but they didn't wash. They look good. I think we'll be able to plant right into them, and it will be about as good a planting conditions as you could ask for. All right, so I got that heater running. It'll get it warmed back up in here a little bit. We've got a fair bit of setup stuff. I got to get all my chemicals down here and get them mixing. I got to get a computer down here and set up. I keep samples out of every batch that I do, just in case I need to send them in to get tested. So I'm going to dump all these out. These are all from last year. And organize stuff a little bit, and then we'll be getting closer. All right, well, I've cleaned up a little bit. I put new cardboard down, so we need to get our chemicals down here. I cleaned off my table a fair amount, and we moved some stuff around over there. Our forklift could use a charge, so I'm going to let that charge for a couple of hours. We're going to go back to the farm, work on a little bit of stuff there, load the chemicals up in the back of my old truck so we can get that brought down here, and then this afternoon I think we're ready to go. Because they need to be tight. We got our other light. So that's project is done. Are they bright? Well, don't look at them, Brayson. Eating my snacks again. All right, Brock is here. He got that four-wheeler taken out of here. He's putting that away. He's going to get the forklift. We got to put this cedar away that we took off of the gator, so he's going to get a pallet and do that. We stored it on that kiln room Dad's got out in the back shed there, so we can get it put up there. We're going to get this seed tender out. Brock went through that one, so it should be ready to go. And then I want to get the 8335 unhooked from the disc, because we're done with that for a while, and bring it back in here so we can get that anhydrous bar taken care of and out of here. Plus, I need the forklift to load up some of my seed treatment stuff over here. So we certainly aren't going to use all of this stuff today, but I'm going to take a pallet, basically. We'll take 2 of the cruiser kegs. We'll take our Saltro. We'll take some of the Pearl Bright. We'll take a little bit of the inoculant and the rest of the associated stuff down there, so we've got a little bit of everything. The reason I don't want to just take it all is because this stuff can't freeze, and I don't anticipate it freezing down in my seed warehouse anymore. That's what the heater is there for, and we're getting stuff warmed up that should be all right, but it's just kind of safer down here, so we'll leave it here. Okay, well, I'm back from getting some lunch. I'm trying to get stuff set up to go treat seed, and I'm having trouble getting the internet down in my seed warehouse, so I'm looking for some stuff to make that work better. Anyway, we're getting closer. I'm gonna do some today. I know I am. So Brock got our tractor unhooked, and he's cleaning it because, you know, he made it dirty. He also fixed our power washer. We had that ruptured disc blow there a week or two ago, and I had gotten a new one. So he got that put in, and looks like it's not leaking anymore, so that's good. So he's going to come help me treat beans at some point. I don't know if that'll happen today or not, but I just wanted him to clean that up a little bit because we still got some work to do with them shims on the sway bars and stuff on that 3-point hitch. Okay, back down here. I stuck a thermometer in these beans a while ago. Can you read that? 48. So they're not warm, but they're warmer than they need to be, or they're warm enough to treat, let's say. That'll entertain them for a little while. Okay, so I'm getting chemicals placed over here. That's the only keg that we're going to be using for right now. That is Cruiser Max Vibrance. That's our base treatment. I'll talk about all these when we get into stuff a little bit more. But I need to let it mix. So that is my carryover from last year. So that's what we're going to use up first. There's probably 10 to 12 gallons in there out of a 15-gallon keg left over from last year. So this is my pump. I have 3, but this is my good one. And there's a valve on here that's a 3-way valve. So it's sucking it out of the tank and coming into the pump, pushing it into this valve, and then I can either send it this way or this way. That way pumps it back into the tank. The other way pumps it to the handle. And so by pumping it back into the tank, we're recirculating it, it mixes it. We're just gonna let that go for a long time. Hey, dang kid running into me. I think we gotta go back down to the farm. I need to sit at my desktop computer and figure out what exactly I'm treating with what's on it. And I've been calling a couple of people to confirm with them, and they keep adding inoculant and stuff, so it changes what my batches are going to be. I was hoping to do a good run, but I was hoping to do a pretty good sized run, 5 or 6 boxes anyway, but I don't know if I'm going to have enough to start. I don't really want to start treating with inoculant. Stop moving.
Stop.
Anyway, we got to go figure all that out before we start treating here. All right. Well, we've accumulated the other child over there on the gator. And Brock is down here. He's going to help us. So we have got 5 boxes for this first run. They're 2505s, which are on the early side of what we've got. But that's all right. It's a good size run, and it's just the base chemicals. So it's an easy one. So Brock is going to get 5 of them and set them out here. And then we've got to take the lids off. I'm gonna get the treater set up, get the recipe put in the computer, and then we gotta calibrate and go through a bunch of startup stuff here before we can actually put any treatment on beans. So, yeah. Okay, so while Brock is getting those beans ready to go, I'm going through the computer here and making up my recipe and a run. So you can set the recipe, which is the ingredients that you're putting in basically, and what rates those get applied at, and then you can do a run for each individual. So like I'm doing 2505s. This is the last 3 of the lot number. My seed size is 2,580 seeds per pound, and we're going to treat 200 units. That's 5 boxes. I'm going to set the treater flow rate at 700 pounds per minute. We want a total slurry volume of 6 fluid ounces per hundredweight, and we have 2 pump stands. So then we come down here, and our water racing. He's mad because his brother's driving the gator and he can't. But he had his turn. Anyway, so our water is going to be in pump stand number 2 by itself. We are going to need a total of 209 ounces of water. Cruiser Max Vibrance, basically we need 300 ounces. And then we need 30 ounces of Apron XL. 112 of our yellow colorant, because we're making orange beans, because of course we are. And then, so that's what our total volume will be applied to these beans. 42 ounces per minute is what it should set. So I need to measure out all of these things except for the water. We can just dump in how much water we want and get them agitating in our chemical tank. All right, we've got all of our stuff in there. I even wore my rubber gloves, guys. I even wore my rubber gloves. Now, we need to turn on our mixer. And let that agitate. We'll give that a couple of minutes, and then we'll start the pump. I'm going to start it and in recirculate mode so that it pumps it back in the tank so we can get all our lines primed up good here. Well, other than them scattering seed bags all over my seed warehouse, they're at least getting along now, so yeah. All right. We've got this running. This pump stand here that's got my water in it. was running backwards, so I had to figure that out again, but we've got it. It's running the right way. So we are recirculating everything. I'm getting ready to do the calibration procedure, and that's all mixed up, so we're in good. So let's go ahead and get that one calibrated. I'm going to shut the agitation off, and then we've got to change some valves over there. But what we need to do is come into this screen that says pump calibration, and we're going to adjust pump stand 1. We're going to run it for 30 seconds. It's already knows the rate that it should be putting on, so target rate is 32.6 ounces per minute, which means that it should get 16.29 fluid ounces in 30 seconds. So that's what we're shooting for. So we changed the valves up here from recirculate to process calibrate, which pushes it up to the second valve here, and then we run that over to calibrate. So now anything is going to come out of this hose here, and we're going to catch it in that container. I'm going to run it so that we've got it primed to basically right here, and we'll dump it out, and then we'll run our test. So we're going to hit this jog. Brock, tell me when it's coming out. Okay, and we'll let that hose drip out for a second, dump that out, and then run our 30-second test. All right, let's start our test. So that'll shut off automatically once it gets 30 seconds, and then we'll see how much is in there compared to what it says. Given that it's a 1-to-1 ratio, I'm guessing we're gonna have to adjust. Oh, you've tipped it. I did. We're definitely high. It's about right there, I think. Oh, maybe not. Right under that. So 16, 17, 18. We're between 19 and 20. So I'm going to put that number. We'll say 19 and a half. We're going to come over here and tell it that the calibration tube total was 19.5, enter. It thinks it had 16.92, so then we hit update ratio, and it changes it to 1.15 instead of 1. So we're going to dump that back in there, do the test again, and see if it's accurate this time. 3 ounces in 30 seconds may not seem like a huge amount, but that would cost me a fortune in over-applied chemical. That's a lot. That was actually quite a bit out of calibration. A half an ounce or less and you're probably okay, but you want this as close as possible because that keg right there is like 15 grand. Like, it's not cheap. So you gotta make sure that you're applying this as precisely as possible. Okay, after second calibration, we came out pretty darn close. It was as close as we can get with the setup that we have anyway. Now we're fighting over chairs. So I believe, we got to calibrate the water yet. That one's not as critical, but we do need to calibrate it to make sure we're getting the right rate on. There's our water calibration. We should have had 7.79. Looks like about 8.79 to me. Not quite 9 ounces. By the way, the water is colored because I'm using the rinse water to rinse out my containers and stuff, and then just apply that to the beans. So it really is mostly almost all water. It's just colored because, yeah, like I said, I'm using my rinse water to try and use it up. Are we ready, boys?
Yeah.
We got a box up there. That's the right variety. I think we're ready. We got to prime the hoses. Get primed it to the atomizer. All right, let me just make sure everything's hooked up right and all our valves are right. Okay, our valves all look good. Those two are open. These are our two coming from the pump stands. They go into here through this mixing valve chamber, through this hose, which feeds into our atomizer. Now, the way that this works is it pumps it into this atomizer. You can't see it. Into this atomizer that spins around super fast, and it throws that chemical out. The beans, don't touch anything, okay, bud? The beans come falling out around that cone, around the outside of it, and so they kind of coat the inside of that column as the beans are falling. See it? Okay. Okay, don't get your face back. Okay, and so this whole platform is on weigh cells, and it senses the loss in the weight, and that's how it calculates how fast. There's a gate in there, and it opens and closes that gate to adjust the flow so that we get just the right amount of beans going through. In our case, it's going to be 700 pounds per minute, and it's putting on the chemical to apply the right rate to 700 pounds per minute, and then it falls down into that auger, it mixes, comes out into that box, all fully treated. At least that's the goal. We'll see how it works here. Okay, Rylan, are you ready?
Yeah.
You want to hit the button?
What?
See that green button right there? Push it. You can do it. Pull hard. Got it. Turns on the auger. We open the gate. So far, so good. And when everything turns green, it should all go. Wait for it. There it goes. So it's going to dial in our rate here. It takes a second to adjust the pump flow, but it'll get there. Oh, what a deal. We got red beans coming right from the very beginning. Sweet. Sometimes they come out untreated at the very start, but all right, looks good. We're going to run this box through, make sure everything's working all right. And then we'll do those other 4. So our pumps have dialed in focus. Come on, why won't that focus? Anyway, the auger's on, the flow is on, the loss and weight actuator, that's telling me what the gate position is, 72.1. Atomizer's on. This is what's left in the box, 1,200 pounds roughly. We're doing, well, this is how much is done. The totalizer, I don't know why that won't focus, I'm sorry. Flow rate, 12.7 roughly seed count unit per minute. And our pumps are locked on. If those are green, that's what you want. So we're running 28.5 ounces per minute from our chemical tank, 13.6 from our water tank. And they look good. Rylan, you got to stay back a little bit, bud. Is it getting full? They look beautiful. That is awesome. Okay, so as that box gets full, this one is getting empty. We're down to 100 pounds left in that box. When it goes empty, there's a proximity sensor right there, very similar to those ones I put on the grain bin last year. When that does not sense, yep, right there. So it turned red, there's no beans left in it. It turns off the flow, and it just lets the auger run until it's empty, or until I stop it. So we're gonna let that clean out. Hit the pause button right here. And then we got to switch boxes around. You know what the problem with hanging out with Dad is? We don't get nap time. Then we get grumpy. All right, we've got 4 boxes done. We've got 1 more to do over there, and that's all we're going to do for tonight. I just wanted to get stuff rolling, so hopefully tomorrow we can do some more. But yeah, things for a first run, things went exceptionally smooth. So that is a good thing. We do have to figure out this glitter applicator yet, though. I got Brock helping me out a little bit here. He's helping me out a lot, but him moving stuff around, so. Well, they still look pretty good. Brock has been labeling all of the boxes. So we have to, when you treat seed, you have to label it with what's on it. So we're making sure we put the right stickers on all of those. I'm just kind of watching my tanks to make sure that we're going to have enough and that everything's working out rate-wise. It looks like it is, so that is good. The water tank should have extra. This one should be just about empty when we get done with this box. All right, well, Grandma came and rescued us and is taking the boys back because she's going where Grandpa is, not that they want to go with her. But anyway, we've got our 5 boxes here. They look really good. This was the last one right down the line here. The first ones are probably fairly dry at this point. So yeah, awesome. Beans look fantastic. So we're gonna do just a little bit of cleanup on the treater and get it ready. Well, not really get it ready for tomorrow, but I'm also keeping some records on the computer over there. So I've been inputting all of that stuff. Tomorrow, the first thing we'll do when we get here is take that box and dump it back into that one. That is the empty, the last one that those beans came out of, and we just kind of transfer them back into the box that they started in, so that all of the labels are right, the tags are right, everything should be correct that way, and I get my first one back as an empty to start the next batch. So I'm just looking through some of the records, the reports on here for that run that we just did. It says, what does it say? Total seed count units, 200.43. So we got almost half a unit extra between the 4 boxes. So that's good. Average seed count unit per minute was 12.9, so almost 1,300. Or I'm sorry, almost 13 units per minute. This is the total ounces of each chemical that we used from each pump, I guess. Accuracy 100.5 and 100. That's dang good. Means we were just 0.5% high on the cruiser side of it, but that's fantastic. We did about as good as you can ask for on the first run there. Okay, so between varieties, between runs, I guess, I like to open up, there's a little door on the bottom of the auger there. We already opened that up and cleaned out the beans and dumped it. I'll do it again before we start the next one after they've dried out, but my experience tells me that they come out better when they're wet than when they're dry. And we've got a few beans that spilled up here and, yeah, some down there. So I will shop vac those ones out, and then the treater will be basically ready for the next batch of chemical and beans tomorrow. One thing I do want to do before we shut it off for tonight, we need to open up these. It's a peristolic pump in there. It's basically a squeeze pump, and you want to take the pressure off of those hoses so that they don't get a flat spot or a memory in them. Okay, well, not a huge accomplishment today, but good to get started. So that's going to be about it. I have a couple of things that I want to talk about, though. So my boys have been spending a little bit more time with me the last couple of weeks. You guys have probably noticed that. Our babysitter was on vacation. It was their spring break there for a few days, a week or two ago. And then, well, first of all, I know that there are inherent risks and that it's sometimes dangerous for them to be around. And especially days like today where there's forklift moving and the chemicals and stuff. And it's probably not ideal to have them in this situation, but I am watching them very closely, and they're smart enough to know and to listen when I am seriously telling them to stay away from stuff or to be careful or do stuff, and they do a really good job. So I get it, and I know the dangers, but it's what I've got to do right now. They will be okay. So the reason why, and you're probably going to start seeing a fair amount more of the boys. So they were with me on Friday, right? Friday morning, my wife woke up to a text that our babysitter had been taken to the emergency room with a brain aneurysm. And later that day, she passed away. And so we are suddenly, and it sucks for us, but ignore us. She was 35. She has 3 young kids, 8, 6, and 4, I think, or 8, 7, and 4. And I can't even process it and fathom what that family is going through. So the biggest problem I have is that I have my kids with me more. And I'm okay with that. So they're going to spend some time with me. The mom's going to take some time off work. They're going to be with grandma for a little bit until we figure something out. At least until we get to summer when everybody else is off of school, and then we've got some stuff lined up from there. So say a prayer for that family. That one's pretty rough. Heading back to the farm. It's starting to dry off on top. I don't think you guys can see this at all, but way back out in that middle field, that was the first field that we did our field cultivating in, and I can see the tile line starting to dry off. It'll be a lot more evident tomorrow, but yeah, we're gonna get a good view of all of our tile maps here over the next couple of days as the ground starts to dry out. All right, thanks for watching today, guys. Have a great night, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Like and subscribe. We're going to work on this a little bit tomorrow. We're going to spend a lot of time treating beans. So that's what's going on this week. Sorry. Well, the boys found the sandbox. It's time to go home, boys. Oh, look, he's got his combine full. That's not what goes in the combine. There you go. Put it in your dump truck. That's a good idea. Also, here's Here's Dad's little greenhouse he was working on the other day. So he's made these 2 planter boxes here, and on this one he's got more finished, but he put a nice rail on, and then he's got his greenhouse frame. I don't know if he's planted anything yet or not, but he needs a way to secure this end a little bit better. But yeah, that's pretty good.